Hello, my name is Terence Sinceros, and in this video, my team and I will explore identity recognition and the impacts of facial recognition on vulnerable groups. To start, what is identity? And according to Maria Isabel Toledo, identity is not a fixed essence or a list of traits, it is a permanent, ongoing social construction. Identity gives us both permanence and being ourselves over time, and also singularity, unique traits that set us apart.
I'm gonna talk about the importance of recognition. I'm gonna start with a question: who even are you if nobody's watching? Sounds deep, but it's true. We don't build our identity alone. We build it through recognition. Basically, other people seeing us and say, well, yeah, I can see you, and I know you. Well, it comes from different places. First, your family. They are the ones who tell you that you matter. Then, your friends, who shape where you feel like you belong. Then, teachers and schools, who they tell you that you are actually good at something. And last, the society overall, deciding who gets respect and who gets overlooked. But it's not equal for everyone. Class, race, gender, and culture decides who gets seen. Identity is not built alone. It came from others, even despite the barriers they create.
One of the most frequently mentioned and common vulnerable groups subjected from this false recognition is the indigenous cultures of Mexico. These groups or native peoples are descendants of the populations that once inhabited the country before its colonization in the 16th century. The Tarahumara, Zapotec, Huichol, Otomi are others among the peoples who still preserve their original languages and traditions.
Now, I will explain how indigenous people have been given a false identity. This false recognition has been created by centuries of discrimination, colonization, stereotypes in the media, and a lack of education about indigenous culture. According to the United Nations, indigenous people make up about 6% of the world's population, yet they represent around 19% of people living in extreme poverty. This false identity has three main characteristics. First, many people believe indigenous communities are less educated or less capable, when in reality, they have valuable knowledge, languages, and traditions. Second, they are often seen as a poor or underdeveloped, ignoring the cultural richness and diversity of their communities. Third, some people think indigenous culture belongs only to the past, even though millions of indigenous people actively preserve their traditions while participating in modern society. These stereotypes create a false image that does not reflect the true identity, history, and contribution of indigenous people.
One important consequence of this false identity is discrimination in education and employment. Many indigenous people are unfairly judged as lazy or unproductive, which reduce their opportunities to get jobs or continue their education. According to INEGI, indigenous communities continue to have higher poverty rates and lower access to education than the rest of their population, not because they don't want to work, but because they face structural inequality. A second consequence is social exclusion and the loss of cultural identity. Negative stereotypes makes many indigenous people feel pressure to hide their language, traditions, or cultural practice to avoid discrimination. This affects their self-esteem and weakens the preservation of their cultural heritage. False identities do not only harm individuals, they also prevent society from recognizing the value and contributions of indigenous cultures.
If you want to eradicate this idea of false recognition, it all starts with education and the information we possess. What do I mean by this? In schools, these groups aren't taught about in a concrete way. Yeah, they're introduced and you're told who they are, but there's no greater representation or a method by which we, as a society, can get involved or gain more context about them. And we usually stick with our first impressions and what we're taught at home, seeing different vulnerable groups as different simply because they don't have that job, don't have decent housing, are illiterate, or have a different gender. We just judge them and nothing is done about it. If we truly want to help indigenous people, we will propose two different things. Number one, that the government and the media make these groups more visible to the public, so that people truly know who they are, learn their history, their traditions, customs, and truly understand what these people are experiencing and why they are experiencing it. Number two, and these kinds of situations are finally addressed more within the education system, since the training and knowledge acquired both at home and at school are key to fostering empathy and support for these individuals. Having all this said, I would like to emphasize that for these false recognitions to cease, we must combat prejudice, promote empathy and inclusion, and thus help those in need and make this world more empathetic for everyone. Thank you.